the babies. Look at the babies back there. I'll lighten it up a little bit. On the shade. Oh, I think a speckled Sussex is over there, or golden cuckoo moran. I can't tell with the weeds. Let's go ahead and look. Like I said, we'll free range them for a little bit. It's getting late in the day. Sun's starting to go a little lower. Whew. Sorry about that. Make me all sick with my Whew. Whew. Excuse me. That's just a cute picture. Our garden. The last update I showed you such wonderful pictures of my squash that was over in the corner. I had to rip it all out because the vine borer got it, and I didn't know anything about that doggone bug. So lesson learned. So now I'm worried about the one healthy one, although it looks good right now. But now look at my watermelon. It looks all wilty. I looked at them yesterday when I was watering, and they didn't look like they had any problems with their vines. So guess we'll just have to wait and see. I have the feed in here for the babies so that they get enough food and they don't have to fight with it's in the chicken tractor here. They don't have to fight for it. They can get through on this side. But the big ones can't get in there. And then they have plenty of feed for themselves. And they can continue to grow. We lost their mama a few days ago. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, you can see my update on that. I feel really bad about it. So basically, about 3 nights ago, I had a little bit of a headache, and I let our one dog outside to go potty, and one of my kids had left the gate open to the dog yard. Now we have herding dogs and Shelties, and he's about a little over a year old. He was a year old in March, and I was heading up to bed, and I told my son to let him in, in a little bit, and he forgot. So it was a perfect storm. I did not check the gate. The gate was left open by accident, and then my son forgot to let him in. And so I was laying up in bed, and I heard a squawk, and I rushed to my window because it sounded bad, and I saw that my dog had the silver Dorking, which is, if you've seen her in some of my other videos, she's nuts. I mean, like, she does not like people. She does not like to be around you. She runs at the slightest you look at her wrong. She's running and hiding. And anyways, so he had just gotten her, had his mouth on her, and I yelled from upstairs, and my windows were shut because the air conditioning was on, and he immediately looked up and he saw me, and he stopped, I yelled down to the kids, and they all went out, and they got him in the house, and I picked up the silver Dorking, which, you know, she was in shock, so she did let me pick her up. She did not have any wounds on her at all. She was just slobbery on top. So then we started looking around, and the yard was like, there were no chickens anywhere, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is not good. So I went to the coop to take the silver Dorking, and there wasn't, not all the chickens were in the coop either. I knew that we were still missing some. And when I came out of the coop, I saw white feathers across the yard. And I ran over there, and she was on her back, but she was breathing. And so I picked her up, and again, no wounds. She had one small little nick. It didn't even, there wasn't really, it was just a red spot, like a little bit of blood, but not enough to bleed. And the rest she was just slobbered on. And I think rather than the run and hide, she was in defense mode. She was defending her chicks. And so she was fighting, and she attacked me once when I tried to pick up one of her babies, and she attacked one of my other daughters when they were near the brooder. And so she was just being a good mama. Well, then I got her picked up, and I brought her over to the water, and I dipped her beak in, and she took, she drank some, and and she just kept, her head kept going down, and I knew she was in full stress, full shock, and so I was very worried about her. She could stand, she walked a little bit, she even tried to get up on the ramp to go to the coop, but she didn't have the strength to jump up to the, and it's only, you know, 2.5 feet off the ground, 3 feet off the ground, maybe 2.5 feet. And so I brought her back over to the water, and I dipped her. Well, then one of my daughters, she's like, one of the babies is dead, and it was probably the first to go. It was already cold, and which a baby not going to retain the heat very long because of being a smaller chick. I mean, they're fully feathered. They're 5 or 6 weeks old, I guess. And we were searching for the other babies. And when we got over to the pig yard behind me, which was new, we could hear them peeping. And in that, see that tall evergreen behind the, looking backwards here. They were, kind of show you from where the coop is. I'm still carrying a whole bunch of eggs in my shirt. Anyways, so I got my son to come out because he's taller, but where I found them was, I'll walk backwards here, you can kind of see what I'm looking at. So there is, we're in the walnut grove, and behind this big walnut there's an evergreen tree, and they were about 6.5 feet. 5 of them, all 5 of the surviving chicks were up in that tree, and Mama was just on the other side of the pig pen, the pig pasture. So she did her job, and I cried over her because this was my fault. This wasn't an attack from outside, you know, and I can't blame our dog. He's still a puppy. He did not try and I don't think he tried to injure, even the baby did not have any, had a little bit of blood near the top of the beak, but I couldn't find puncture wounds, so I'm wondering if that wasn't just, you know, he's used to squeak toys and stuff like that, and whether that, you know, was a factor. It wouldn't take much that size. He's a bigger Sheltie, about 30 pounds, and he's got a very a rough collie type face. So he's got a pretty big mouth, and he wasn't trying to hurt them. You know, he was probably trying to herd them, not hurt them. But in the end, I take responsibility for those 2 deaths. We put her in the coop in a box that I used for the babies and her first night out of the garage. When they came out of the brooder, I put them in a corner of the coop and just let them sleep in there the first couple nights. Well, the second night they were up on the roost with her. I put her in there. I put the babies with her, hoping that her instinct would take over, because she was alive. And that was just, you know, that was just a hope, a prayer that it would work. Some of them were a little too rambunctious. They really wanted to be on the roost, so I let them get on the roost, and but I think 2 or 3 of them out of the 6 stayed with her, or out of the 5, sorry, stayed with her. And when my daughter went out and checked on her, and she was gone, and she called me from the coop. She said, "Mama's gone." So I got up and I went out, and we put all the babies on a roost, and then we just put her in. We kept her in that box, and it has a lid, so I put the lid on it so my son could bury her the next day. And I didn't think to, you know, get my camera. It happened. There's nothing I can do about it. And we all learned a valuable lesson. Double check the gate, and follow through with what you're asked to do. You know, maybe I shouldn't have let him out at all. And went to bed. So, anyways, that's it for today. Thank you for watching Divine Providence Homestead. We had good stuff happen today. Pigs eating watermelon and carrots, and visitors, and my son's coming down the way. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.